Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to have you here with us in beautiful Marrakech. Maybe you could just begin with a brief introduction to your film. What can audiences expect when they watch Mediterranean Fever?
Well, they're about to go on a very weird journey of a friendship, a very bizarre friendship between two men, very fragile and sensitive and dark. It's a thriller, it's a drama, comedy, you could also say, with black humor. It's everything. I mean, there are many, many elements. I cannot just say this is this and that's it. No, it's a lot of things mixed together.
And of course, depression and comedy, maybe not two ideas that you would expect to find to come together. What was the initial inspiration for your story, and what did you want to achieve by sort of putting these two unlikely things together?
It wasn't like a deliberate attempt to combine these two like paradoxical elements together. It's myself, it's me. I am melancholic and I have a sense of humor and I am sarcastic. So it wasn't hard to do it. What inspired me initially, I cannot remember what was it, what caused it, but it just happened. I just came up with this crazy idea, and it was a little bit scary at the beginning. I remember I couldn't share it with anyone because I got, wow. But then when I started to write and share it with my producers, they loved it and they supported me. So I understood that I was on the right track.
And of course, your cast were going to be so crucial to making this work for your two main characters in particular. How did you find these two amazing actors and work with them to develop these kind of opposing, but they start to find common ground through the film, and these opposing people?
I do the casting on myself. I spend a lot of time looking for the character of Walid, the actor Amr Hlehel. He's a friend of mine and he worked with me in my previous film. So the minute I started to write and the minute Walid came to life, I decided that Amr Hlehel is going to do it. It took a longer time to find Ashraf, to find Jalal. I did a lot of auditions. But the combination between them, the encounter between them, the meeting was amazing. And I spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, we together as a team, to rehearse, like 2.5 months of intensive rehearsals and talking and analyzing. So yeah, I think they did a wonderful job. They are amazing.
And coming to the two individual characters, I was reading somewhere someone said Walid is almost a bit of a Tony Soprano sort of character. How did you sort of build the idea of him, and I guess kind of these different layers to him?
Again, the process of writing is unintentional for me. It's not like I wake up in the morning and I say, now I want to do this, I want to write this, I want to have these characteristics of this specific character, I want him to develop this way. It just comes naturally, subconsciously, and there's no other way to describe it except this, that it's a really something from above. I don't know how to describe it. So nothing was intentional. The story comes. In a way, you could say that the characters write themselves.
Coming to the look and feel of the film, this kind of black humour, and the fact that it does lean into darker sides, but so many moments of comedy as well. Do you take inspiration from other filmmakers, and what was your approach to having this particular look and feel to the film?
No approach. I don't know. I can't say that I am inspired by a specific film or filmmaker. I mean, we are all inspired by whatever we read or whatever music we listen to and paintings we look at. Every form of art gives you something. I mean, it enriches you in a way. But it's not a specific influence by a specific filmmaker. And again, like it comes very natural.
And before you were making your own films, you worked on lots of other films as well. How did that kind of experience help feed into your making your own films? And what did you learn through that journey?
It's my only film education. Like I didn't go to cinema school or screenwriting. I didn't study this. I was a teacher for a very short period of time. I didn't like it, and then I thought I would continue my PhD, academy, university, etc. But no. There was always something missing because I loved to write and I loved cinema, and then I worked for I think 7, 8 years as a art director in several films. It was there where I got my experience. I mean, what does it mean to be on a set, to work with a team, to work with a director? So little by little, it was building gradually. Because when I directed my first short film in 2008, I didn't know what to do. I just there's a camera, there are two actors. What do I do now? It was funny.
Coming to, you know, the themes that kind of arise from the film, ideas kind of, I guess, of masculinity and how, yeah, and mental health, and how different people have their own mechanisms of coping with those things. So each man is kind of having their own, like, opposing facade, but not really able to kind of embrace their own true selves, perhaps. So what do you think it has to say kind of about masculinity, mental health?
Well, I look at men and women equally, and not in a feminist way. I mean, and I'm like I'm always asked this question. I mean, about this film, how come that you are a woman filmmaker, made a film about two men? It's not like I'm supposed to just make films about women characters or protagonists. But these men are. I try to break the stereotype of the masculine man who's, you know, supporting his family, you know, or I tried also to break the stereotype of a Palestinian hero. Like, Walid is not a hero. Jalal is not a hero. They are underdogs. In fact, they are anti-heroes. So, and they are anti-masculine men. I mean, in the traditional way. So they are stay-at-home men taking care of the family, and the women who are really who support the family, the work, the strong. I wanted to show this different face or type of man. It's not very common. It's not like you find characters like Walid and Jalal, you know, anywhere, not only in the Middle East, Palestine. But it's them. It's about this kind of characters that I wanted to talk. This type of men.
And coming to kind of where it's set, and I guess it's not an overtly political film, but it's sort of there, perhaps in the undercurrents or sprinklings of it. I mean, even when filling in the film, you know, are you Christian, are you Muslim, oh, I'm Palestinian. So how did that kind of, you know, infuse your story, and how does that play a role, I guess, you know, making films in this area of the world? Is there always kind of a political element to it?
Well, you see, being Palestinian, you cannot not touch politics. I mean, there's a bottle of water. You open it, the water comes out of it. So when you go to watch a Palestinian film, you expect to see Palestinian talk about Palestinian conflict, occupation, checkpoints, etc. And I wanted to break that as well. I wanted to talk about the personal problems, the mental problems. But at the same time, you cannot completely cancel the politics. It is there. It is in the background, like you said, in some points, some scenes. But it's not there in your face. It's not a propaganda film. It's not a manifesto of, let's talk about the conflict. No, it's a different, much subtle political film.
And would you say that kind of comes out through, you know, the fact of perhaps being a Palestinian and never knowing when that feeling of freedom will come, and will you always be inhibited somehow? And, you know, maybe that also feeds through into these characters.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the feeling that we live. I mean, I feel it also. I think that every Palestinian feels it. We live in a huge prison, and we don't know when we're going to be free, if at all we're going to be free, because the situation really is terrible. It's becoming harder and harder on Palestinians, specifically, especially in Gaza and the West Bank. And this is one of the causes of Walid's depression. It's not only a mental thing. It's not a mental disease. It's this burden of being born in this place and having the word too much within him. I don't know which English poet said that, but this is Walid. I mean, it's all on his shoulder, like very sensitive, very feels it deep inside. So that adds to his depression and frustration.
And also the decision you made in terms of funding, was that kind of quite a purposeful thing from your first film to this one?
Yeah.
And perhaps having, you know, complete freedom in terms of the story you wanted to tell.
Yes, exactly. But I didn't have this freedom in the first. I mean, I had the freedom of creating the film in the first, in my previous film, Personal Affairs. Even though it was funded by Israel, there was no other way to do it. It was my first film. But now it's. I wanted to have a Palestinian film. I wanted to show it in the Arab world freely.
Talk to us a little about the actual shoot. You know, did you encounter any particular challenges, or were there some moments on set that were a real highlight for you?
Every day was a highlight. Every scene, it was like a bliss to work with these amazing actors, the team, the crew, the producers. It was quite frustrating in the beginning because it took 5 years until I was able to shoot it. It's a funding that takes time, and then the COVID came, so we burned another year. The difficulties was, getting the crew from France, Germany, and the equipment because of the COVID, they had to be vaccinated, and there was a long line. It was 2021, so it was still not like now. Now it's easier. So I think that was the only challenge, and of course you have a very small budget, and you have big dreams. That's also a challenge, but it all went well.
And in terms of, well, any spoilers, but you know, having a big twist at the end, you know, do you like to kind of keep audiences on their toes? And what have you sort of seen in terms of reactions to that?
Oh, the reactions. Yes, the reactions were, again, I cannot spoil it, but they come to me and, why did you do this? Even for me, when I started to write, I don't see the end where it's going. So it comes gradually as you're writing. I mean, if it takes a few months, a year. So little by little you discover where this character is heading, and then when I decided to make the ending as it is, me myself, I was shocked. I mean, when I read my first draft, I wrote it. When I read it, I was, okay, can we do something about it? But no, because it is the natural way that the character can't say the word.
And you know, what do you ultimately hope people will take away from watching your film? And you know, obviously there's empathy there. It's kind of a fine line between sort of, empathy and sympathy, but not, you know, the characters also being flawed. What do you hope people take away overall?
Everything that you said, to watch another Palestinian story, even though it's not a typical Palestinian story, but yes, to raise awareness, to enjoy, to laugh, maybe cry a little bit, to have sympathy and empathy, like you said, to take something, to take a feeling home after the film, to think about it, to wake up the other day and say, what did I watch yesterday? What does that mean about me? Where does it touch me? So, yeah, all of this, hopefully.
In terms of the journey the film's already taken, being in Cannes, now here in Marrakech, what's that been like for you in particular, being here at the Morocco Film Festival?
I love Marrakech. It's my first time here. It's an amazing, enchanted city, and I'm very, very happy. The festival is amazing. It's well organized and huge and nice. And yeah, I'm very happy. I hope that the Moroccan audience enjoyed it yesterday, the screening. So you never know.
Do you know what you're going to work on next? And
yes, I know. I started working. I just need time, a break from this traveling with the festivals to just sit down and complete the first draft.
And do you feel that there are lots of opportunities for filmmakers in Palestine, or do you think there's still a way to go to have a bit more diversity and more opportunities and more funding, like we were talking about?
Yeah, it's not easy. Even if you have 2 or 3 successful films behind you, it's never easy. Every time it's like a first time. You have to prove that you are writing well. You have to prove that you can make it. You have to, be patient and wait and apply and submit. It's the same journey, like every time.
Thank you so much for sharing all that with me. Really enjoy the rest of the time here in Marrakech.
Thanks. Thank you.